Will the market go up or down? Should you lock in or float? Find out this and more with Master of the Markets, hosted by Barry Habib of MBS Highway. Brought to you by United Wholesale Mortgage.
Does your lender give you the power to go from clear to close to closing in just 6 clicks? UClose from UWM does. It's the fastest, easiest, built for TRID way to close. Try UClose for yourself at uwm.com/uclose.
Welcome to Master of the Markets. I'm Barry Habib at MBS Highway, created exclusively for Mortgage News Network. And it's brought to you by our friends at United Wholesale Mortgage, where they help you grow your business with some incredible tools like UConnect, which actually monitors the activity of your past customers. And if it looks like they're going to look to refinance or buy another home, they send that transaction back to you so you can make some more money. Pretty cool stuff. Check it out. And speaking of making more money, let's take a look at what happened last week. A lot of events, housing kind of Goldilocks. We are seeing low inventory levels, low supply of homes, not a lot of additional new homes coming to the market that can't be absorbed. It's, as I said, almost a Goldilocks situation, but the media doesn't understand this because what this results in is some fewer transactions, and the media takes that as a bad thing. The reason for the fewer transactions is because of lower inventory, highly supportive of prices. And with regards to interest rates, yeah, they're going to remain low for a long time. One of the key elements, of course, is inflation. That's interesting because last week we got the PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditure. We also got the Employment Cost Index, which measures how much people are earning on a year-over-year basis. And this is an important one to monitor because, as we've said, the growth in income can support higher home prices. It doesn't have to be 1-to-1. Typically speaking, there's a 4 or 5-to-1 ratio, meaning if incomes go up 2% a year, that means it could support home prices growing or rising at 8 to 10% per year pretty easily, so long as interest rates don't rise significantly. Now, what we're seeing is an environment for low interest rates, and we're also seeing income as per last week's report, rise for the most recent quarter at 2.1%. This is kind of a little weaker number than we were hoping for, but I think it's greatly impacted by all of the positions that have been lost in the energy sector. Remember, a year ago, barrel of oil as measured by WTI, West Texas Intermediate, was about $100 a barrel. Today it's about $45 a barrel. So many rigs have closed, so many jobs have been lost, and these were extraordinarily high-paying jobs, 2 to 3 times more high-paying than typical jobs. When you take that into consideration, of course we're seeing incomes lag a little bit more than they should be. But during the course of the next couple of quarters, this will be kind of smoothed out, and I think you'll start to see incomes rise at a higher pace. That's very supportive for housing, but it also gets the Fed thinking about maybe there's inflation on the horizon. And speaking of inflation, that PCE number that we got last week showed that inflation was only rising on a year-over-year basis when you strip out food and energy at 1.3%. It's a lot lower than the Fed's target of 2%, but it is far different than the other measure of inflation, the CPI, Consumer Price Index. That's at 1.9%. This 6/10ths gap, it's the largest gap since 2009, where we were mired in a stock market and housing crash. Obviously a very different time in the marketplace. But today, to see the 6/10th discrepancy between the two, let's try to understand why. PCE ignores housing expense. So in other words, home prices going up, let's not worry about that. The fact that rents are going up 4% per year, PCE says, let's not even worry about that either. And the Fed's looking at PCE. Additionally, PCE ignores medical expenses on a personal level. Hey, your copays are going up, PCE doesn't care. Your cost of medical insurance going up, or your employer's cost of medical insurance going up, PCE doesn't care. Sorry. Awfully silly when you think about it, right? Now, CPI takes these things into consideration, and that's why it's at 1.9%, much closer to the Fed's 2% target before they say, hey, we've got to raise rates as we are confident that approach is there, or certainly if we're there. So why is the Fed burying its head in the sand? More interestingly, the government itself looks at CPI when it determines Social Security increases. So why would the government look at CPI? Why is it good enough for the government and not PCE? Heck, if the government wanted to save some money, they'd look at PCE and have to pay less in Social Security increases. crazy stuff. I think the Fed is just giving itself cover to continue this low interest rate environment where they don't have to hike rates. But there will come a day of reckoning. And that's what I want to talk to you about, because I think that interest rates are going to fluctuate. I don't think they're going to go up much higher than they are now, but they could go a little higher over the next couple of quarters as this data starts to come in irrefutably that incomes are rising and there is a little bit more inflationary pressure. Not a lot, but enough so that the bond market will potentially have to take action to protect itself. If that happens, refinances could be pretty vulnerable. Look, if a rate's 4% today and a customer has that, they're not going to refinance in most cases to 4% or 4 1/8 or 4 1/4. Even 3 7/8 or maybe 3 3/4 might be something that they may not be enticed or incented to do. Interest rates have to keep declining significantly for refinances to stay very abundant. Not so much on the purchase side. On the purchase side, someone's not going to purchase a home if interest rates stay the same, if interest rates only drop 1/8, or even if interest rates rise 1/8 to 1/4. So what I'm saying to you this is, as we close out this year and we go into 2016, big takeaway: do the things that will gain you more purchase business. Align yourselves with purchase referrals. Use the tools to help you do more purchase transactions and keep your focus there. Many of you are doing this, but if you're not, consider these things, because right now, while refinances are plentiful and it's certainly an easier road, and you can certainly justify it by saying, I've got to service my customers, all valid. You've got to start to think about the future, because when these things turn, they happen rather quickly. You've been through it before. I'm telling you that we could see some fluctuation in rates over the next 90 to 180 days that could move interest rates up enough to significantly slow down refinances. But by the same token, it won't do any damage to the purchase side. And let's get on top of that, because purchases are picking up. All right. If you want to learn about this every day, you want to use charts to share, you want to use tools to help you get more purchases, well, just sign up for MBS Highway. It's free. Click on the link and go ahead and start that right now. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Today's Master the Markets was brought to you by United Wholesale Mortgage.
This is Mortgage News Network.